It's Cup O'Joe from MusicMaster, my very first attempt at doing a podcast here, and I hope to make this one really interesting, even though I look a little scruffy today. I haven't shaved, and I really haven't combed my hair, so my wife Melanie is going to be really pissed when she sees this. I just decided today to show you something that I've been working on that makes MusicMaster Oldies, which is my stream on Live 365, sound better. And I'm going to run you through a couple of quick things here. It won't take long. I just want to show you that if you take a little time and you're very meticulous in how you set up your MusicMaster data for as far as trimming silence off the beginning of the audio, as far as setting the intro times and the mix time, which is basically the runtime in MusicMaster, that's where the next event will start. And if you set this up well, you are going to have very tight segues. They're going to sound fantastic. You have to sort of understand some music theory in order to do this, but I think most radio people listen to so much music that they get it. If you're listening to a song, and I'm going to try and listen to a song right here, see if you can hear it. So when you hear the song, there's a pulse. It's the pulse that makes you want to tap your foot. So you listen to this pulse. And when you have this pulse going in your head, now you listen for the strong beat in that pulse. And the strong beat within the pulse is usually the beginning of a bar. And where you want to set the mix point, where you start the next event, is at the start of a bar. So it's the last bar where you want the next thing to start. In the previous song, you're going along boom, 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 boom. That's where you want the next song to start, because the rest of that is going to be a fade out. If it's a cold song and there's a ring out of the last note, you want to leave a little of that ring out in there, but not the whole thing. You want the next event to start while that note is ringing out, but not right away. You want it to let a little of that go so that the previous song sounds more natural, and then the next song starts right when the note is just about finished ringing out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these times. Now, by the way, this is MusicMaster CS here, and we're using the automation system that MusicMaster is introducing, which is called InfoAudio. And we're using in InfoAudio the thing that they call the Marks Editor. And this Marks Editor is launched from MusicMaster. I'm going to close it here, and I'm going to launch it again. We have a user tool set up in CS where we can launch either their voice tracker or their Marks Editor, but I also set this up so that there is a hotkey for it. So I can hit F12 and the Marks Editor comes up for the song that I'm on. So this is some old song that you probably never heard of by the Kalin Twins called Forget Me Not. But what I want to do here is set the time where the vocal starts, and I also want to set the time where the next event starts. And I had these set, by the way, before to the nearest second, because in Pro that was pretty much all I could do. And if you set your intro times and your run times, especially the run time, to the millisecond, you can get incredible accuracy. And when you do that, your segues will sound fantastic. They will sound so tight, assuming that your playout system can start things to the nearest millisecond, which InfoAudio can do. So let's just start here. I'm going to play just a little of the song again, so you can hear. Forget the fella. Okay, my original intro time was way before the audio, the vocal actually started. That's because I could only set it to the nearest 5 seconds. If I click on this icon up here, it starts playing right at what I had it set to, the intro time. But the actual intro time, let's find it. It's in here. A little bit more. Now you'll notice it's incrementing in milliseconds. There it is. So let's stop it. Now if I click on this icon, it'll start right at the vocal.
forget the fellas that
See? And now the vocal, instead of starting at 5 seconds, which is what I had in MusicMaster Pro, now that I'm in CS, I'm going to start it at 5 point. So when I'm setting up an intro to that song, whether it be a live voice track or an AI generated voice track, you can have it actually meet the post perfectly, because now you can set those 2 points to the millisecond. So I can tell it to start to end that the intro, that vocal, that imaging piece, that voice track, right at the intro point. So now let's set the end point. I'm going to click again over here, which is the mix point or the runtime. And I had that set to 221. So we're going to see first, how does this song end? I'm just going to back this up a little bit. And it ends cold. So I want it to ring out a little bit right there. Now that's at 221.187. It's letting me have a little more time in that song, only 187 milliseconds more. But the segue to the next song is going to sound fantastic, because what we've done here is we've used our knowledge of the music itself and how music works to say, let's let that song completely play itself out to the point where it would be the perfect spot to start the next song. So let's listen to that again. Let's let it ring out a little bit more right there. I hope you can hear that. And over here, we're going to double check our intro pattern. And this is the stop button. Now over here, it shows you under this button here on the right, the upload button, it shows you the runtime of the song from the beginning of the audio to the mix point, to the runtime. And then over here, there are on the side little sliders that allow you to trim off silence. I don't recommend that you do that. I recommend that you go into an audio editor and trim the silence off, because you want to have your audio file start when the audio starts. If you don't do that, yes, your automation system can handle that. MusicMaster can handle that. The Marks editor can fix it. But to have absolute tightness and absolute control over how your segues sound, without having to add extra fields into MusicMaster, it's better to have those audio files trimmed before you actually start using them in your automation system. And it's really easy to do in an editor like I'm using Adobe Audition. You might be using Logic Pro or whatever you use. It's fairly easy to do. Let's just drag a song in here. We'll just drag in Bert Kempfert here. You just go in and select the beginning of the song, and you look for the place where the music actually starts. You select out the silence, and you chop it off. And then what you should always do is normalize the audio so that all of your songs are essentially the same audio, same level. And the reason you do that is because then when you're playing back music in your automation system and you're feeding that into your audio processing, the audio processing doesn't have to work that hard. And if you have some audio that's 10 dB low, your audio processor is not going to be able to process it as well as it does if it's 1 dB low. It's going to have to bring that gain up and basically make that sound different or be processed different than the other songs. The other problem is not having them normalized and having them all about the same level is that when one song transitions into another, if you have a really loud song transitioning into a quiet song, well, for a few seconds, that song is going to have to recover its volume through your audio processing. And so you're going to have not a very tight segue. Or likewise, if you have a very quiet song going into a loud song, you might have what you thought was going to be ringing out from that last song, the fade out or the ringing out of that note is going to be crushed by this new song that comes in that's way too loud. So always make sure that all of your audio files are at the same level and that the silence is trimmed from the beginning And if there's a lot of silence at the end, trim that up too. And here's a real important pro tip for you. If you rip CDs, hardly anybody has CDs anymore, right? If you rip CDs directly into your automation system, or if you download songs, like through MusicMaster, you can download songs from I Like Music. You may be getting songs from, Play MPE or some other source. If you get those songs, don't just put them on the air, because you cannot trust a CD to have zero silence before the audio begins. You can't trust downloaded songs to have zero silence before the audio begins. And you cannot trust any of these sources to give you normalized audio that is exactly the same level. And on top of that, if you're playing some songs that are equalized poorly by the studio that created the song, you might want to equalize that. If you have a song that has a very long fade out and fades and fades and fades and fades, you may want to use amplitude envelope to bring that fade up so that your processing doesn't have to suck that long fade up. You want to be able to control that fade yourself. Same thing with the intro. If a song is very, very quiet in the beginning, you may want to consider amplifying that beginning so that it basically brings that up so that it doesn't jar your processing when that song plays. And you can also, at the same time, you should be thinking about, where do I want to start this song? If it starts out with 1, 2, 3, you might want to cut that part out so that on the air, it starts with the actual song. Or maybe if you're a purist like I am, you leave that in, but you make sure it's loud enough so that it doesn't jar your processing. So let's go back here to this Marks editor. I'm, by the way, going to save this one for later. I'm going to go back to MusicMaster and back to the Marks editor. And if you see, I'm on Kalen Twins right here, and I had the old times, 5 and 221. I'm going to hit the upload button. And what the Marks editor does is through the Nexus connection that it has to MusicMaster CS, it instantly updates my intro time and my run time to exactly what I had in the Marks editor. So it's going to take time, but you do the work once and the radio station sounds better. Go through your whole library and do this work once. I know it's a big job, but you only got to do it once and your radio station will sound better. Some of you may already be doing this. Maybe you've been doing it this meticulously where you got it to the millisecond, but most of the radio stations I know have not done this. Whether you're doing a terrestrial radio station or a streaming station as I'm doing, this will make it sound better. I guarantee it. And if you're interested in MusicMaster CS, or you're interested in the InfoAudio automation, or if you're interested, but you're also going to get the voice tracker and this Marks editor, which, by the way, can be used from any location. These are sitting on a server somewhere else right now, and I'm sitting here in my lovely office, which is just a mess right now. I've really got to do some cleaning here. I'm accessing this through the internet, so anybody can use this anywhere, regardless of whether you guys are remotely working or whether you have multiple locations. Anybody can access MusicMaster CS and the InfoAudio tools from wherever they are. So call us if you're interested in those, or if you don't already have those, call us if you're interested, and we'll hook you up. So this is the end of Joe's podcast number 1 for today. But in the future, you're going to see more Cup O'Joe podcasts that are going to have a lot to do with how you can get the most out of MusicMaster, how you can properly set up your goals and rules, how you can create clocks that actually make sense, how you can program your Christmas music or program special events or get imaging to match up to some, even to be able to use AI voice tracking through MusicMaster and some of the other cool new technology that we're working on and bringing to you. So thanks for watching. Tell your friends. Don't forget to hit like and share and whatever else you want to do. Put it on your social media if you like. Get the word out there that the creator of MusicMaster, Joe Knapp, is actually doing a podcast now. And if anybody's interested in learning more about MusicMaster, come see me. And I'll tell you what, in the future, it's not going to be just me sitting here in my office. In the future, we're going to have guests, and we're going to have guests who are people who work for MusicMaster around the world, and they're going to be telling you their experiences and their advice. And we're also going to have customers as guests, maybe one, maybe more than one, who basically give you the benefit of their experience with MusicMaster and just maybe music in general. So if you're interested and you're a customer or you're curious and you want to be a guest, hey, hit me up, let me know. So we'll see you soon. This is the end of the first podcast of Cup of Joe. Thank you for watching.